What do you mean share?
Never mind.
Share what?
I was going to share my screen.
Oh, sorry.
While we're talking, because I can pull up stuff while you guys are talking.
And sorry, I know I don't know how to say. I know Maharabata. I don't know how to say that.
You got to put the friggin' thing back up, Darren.
Thank you.
You want to come on our YouTube live?
You want to be on YouTube?
Sure.
All right, sweetie son. There we go. Fuck it. We're here.
All
right. We're going to let Jenny talk to you because she's a genius about this stuff.
Go ahead, Jenny.
A question for you. What shape do you think the Earth is?
A sphere.
Can I ask why you think that?
Darren, share screen while we're doing this.
Go.
Why do I think that? I mean, because that's what I've been told, and that's what I've seen pictures of.
Okay, same. So we're all told that. We've all been taught that in school and seen pictures of it. And this visual right here, that's the sun, and those are all the planets going around the sun. Do you know how fast that's going?
I have no idea. Bajillions of miles per hour.
So the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour on its own. As it's spinning by itself, it's orbiting the sun at 66,000 miles per hour. And as it's doing those two motions, it's flying through space at 500,000 miles per hour through infinite expanding space. Yet our water lays flat and level. Our stars are the same stars since the beginning of time. And everything that we have tells us that we're not moving and that everything rotates around us. Yet we believe in this.
Watch this. This is called the hypersonic sled track. Watch how fast it goes by. Ready? Did you see it?
I did. Well, no, not really, but.
So watch, here it comes again. And you have to believe that we're going 10 times faster than this around the sun in an elliptical orbit. And we're going 100 times faster than this, chasing the sun. But when we go out in nature, we see things like this. Okay? We see things like this. Now, what does that water tell you if you use your common God-given sense?
Well, that water looks pretty damn still, if you ask me.
Yeah, and it's the container of our water. The land that surrounds our water is the container of it, because if the water was lower on the edge of a lake, well, the lake would flow away. Think of our world as a giant pond, okay? So this is our world. All of the continents and islands are surrounded by water, but the water is surrounded by Antarctica. Antarctica is the outer lands. It's not a continent at the bottom of the ball. It's the shoreline that surrounds our pond. And they tell us that Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. I bet you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's the container of our world, right? So
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And so when you get to Antarctica, you hit this cliff. It's not a wall like Game of Thrones. It's literally just the shoreline of our world. And when you and nobody is allowed to explore beyond that shoreline. Interesting, right?
I mean, have people not explored beyond that shoreline?
No, they haven't. And some of the people that claim to do it literally are just skirting the edge.
Tell me about the Antarctica Treaty.
Yeah.
Which 1958, same year NASA was made, right after they got done with Operation Fishbowl and Operation Dominic, where they were launching nuclear weapons, supposed nuclear weapons, up into the sky, trying to basically get out. When they couldn't, they started NASA same year. Then they started the Antarctic Treaty, which think about all these countries we're told are fighting, right? Russia, United States, we're all hated. Yeah, so it's a treaty where all the countries got together, 41 countries decided that nobody can go to Antarctica for anything, no resources, no independent research. You can take a little cruise ship and go right to that little tip that comes out by South America.
Nobody is allowed to go.
I've heard of the treaty before. Yeah. I didn't know what led up to it in context, but
it doesn't tell you because you have to look deeper, because what it says a treaty is not this, but you are not allowed to go there, fly over it, boat there. You can't do anything except pay for a $10,000 government guided tour to Antarctica. We're not allowed to explore our actual Earth that we live on. And I just wanted to point out that on the globe, you know how we saw that picture of nature and how water's flat and level and still and everything? So on this, water is 360 sticking to a ball without a container whatsoever. And this is what we
while flying through space at 1.2 million
while
miles
flying
per hour.
through space, and there's no container holding this water. And when we go outside, we go to the ocean or anything, you see that any lake, every water, if it was on a ball, it would separate in the center and lay on either side. But our water is flat and still and level.
When you look at photos of Earth from space, from the different space agencies, this is what you get. I mean, they're all. I'm sharing, right?
Yeah,
they're
I just had
all
his blur up the whole time. Sorry, guys.
Oh, there you go. You're back. They're all just paintings, and people are like, what do you mean they're just paintings? I mean,
well, they're a two-dimensional image.
True, but they when you compare them to I just lost myself here.
Why is the wine there?
I'm showing you that one of these is, well, these are both paintings. So the one on the top left is a painting. It's a photorealistic painting, which I claim would be much harder to paint than the blue marble on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And
sure,
you know, there are,
and those pictures are mostly composite anyway. They admit that they just have, they don't get up very high. They take a bunch of pictures, they strip them all together, and then they apply them to the ball. They're not, most of those pictures are not said to be taken. There was one taken supposedly in 1971, and then they didn't take another one to 2015.
That repeated cloud pattern, copy and paste.
There you go. You can see it right there on the screen. Clearly they use the Photoshop tool. And
I would just like to tell you that, so the first time that CGI was ever used was in 1958, and then NASA was created in 1958. NASA is the largest and the first space company to ever exist. And then guess what happened in 59? The Antarctica Treaty. This is a plan. And that's why, you know, when we asked you what shape is the Earth, you said the globe, and I said, why do you think that? And you said, because it's what I was told.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, nobody knows. Well, I don't know.
We can know when you look.
You guys don't know.
Well, but if something was going to be lied to, you would have signs of that. Like you would teach children when they're very young. You would not let them question it. You would not even give any evidence for it. You would just tell them, this is where you live. This is where you've always lived. We always known that. And then everybody grows up and nobody's ever even been taught why we believe that.
Right.
What is the evidence of it?
Which is very true. But I mean.
So name something else like that. What else have we been told? And we've never been given any evidence for. This is the way it is.
History, every single thing that's ever been told in history.
I don't think that'd be impossible to prove, though.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, I mean, history. You can never prove history, right?
Yeah, it's stories.
Yes, right. His story.
Here's a challenge that we have out there: 3 Bitcoins for one proof of a globe. Just one proof of a globe.
Well, I don't have the resources to do that for you, unfortunately, if it's even true. But I mean, what about all the video from the stratosphere where you can actually see the curvature of the Earth itself?
What video would that be? Because we haven't seen it.
Might be able to,
like the ISS live feed.
Yeah, I mean that's one for example. I've seen a couple.
So this is the Red Bull space jump. It's the highest they're getting with a balloon. And,
I actually saw that today.
Yeah. So, but if you look at that, and if you examine the land, that's all New Mexico. I didn't know that New Mexico was about a quarter of the Earth. Right? It's a fisheye lens. That is a
weird image.
Yeah, that's a fisheye lens.
Take that and put it on a globe. That's how big New Mexico is, which is absolutely insane.
How about this one? Right. Let me ask him this one. So, if the Earth is spinning to the east, should be faster for us to get into a plane, fly from New York to California, right? Not right, but it's the opposite. It's actually faster to fly California to New York, and you're chasing a 1,000-mile-per-hour spinning Earth. Look it up. It's faster to fly from California to New York.
But if there was really a curve and if there was really a spin, then things would be accounted. There's nothing accounts for curvature or the motion of the Earth. Nothing.
Words.
Nothing. Planes, bridges, nothing.
Does gravity not hold us all in place?
Huh?
Would gravity not have an effect of that, of everything being pulled equally toward it?
Gravity is a made-up thing to explain how cruise ships and oceans are held upside down on a ball without a container, defying physics. It was discovered in 1666, 666 is all over the heliocentric model. And what it really is, we have the magnetic field is what we actually have. Gravity is completely made up, but everybody thinks it's a fact, and it's never been detected. You can't observe it.
Yeah, it's just another thing they taught children.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm unfortunately not educated enough to.
Yeah, but that's what they want. That's the whole point of what they're doing, right?
They want you,
right, but okay, but like, if it is all a lie, like, who cares? What's the point? I don't give a shit if the Earth is flat or round.
Really? So it's changed a lot of people's lives, because if they're lying about that, then they're lying about everything, or they would be able to lie about everything, right?
Right. That's why I don't really believe much of anything.
That's good.
What if there was more land? What if there was another 30 continents or 100 other continents that they were hiding from you? Would that matter?
That would matter.
Yeah.
That would matter. That'd be
maybe we're like part of a slave class here, right? Because there was groups here like the Mayans. The stories told that there was 20 million Mayans, and they were seen by the first investigators here. And then 200 years later, they came back, and all of them were gone, and the forest overgrew all their land there. But the problem with that is where's all the bodies? So they might have left. They could have gone. Dave, show the map with the other lands. They could have gone out and away from us. In fact, there's a story from 1900 called the Iron Republic, where it talks about every so often around summertime down in the south, a fissure opens in the Antarctic ice wall, and you're able to take a boat through it and get to the other side. And on the other side, there's more continents. And if you think about it, people would be able to leave that way. They would go out there. They would have civilizations out there or whatever, and they probably wouldn't want to come back if they knew what was going on here, which is hidden slavery.
So you just
think about this for a second. Think about this. We live in the center. That ring around us is Antarctica, and then beyond Antarctica is other land, extra territory. So if somebody lived out there and came to visit us in the inner area, they'd be considered an extraterrestrial from the outer space. Right here on our Earth plane, just thousands of miles away instead of incomprehensible trillions of miles.
Which makes more sense if there was a craft that ever crashed in Roswell or somewhere. It makes a lot more sense that they just came from over there and crashed rather than from 75 billion light years away.
I won't disagree with that. Is there any evidence of these continents outside of the wall?
Well, there's just this story from 1903. It's called the Iron Republic. You can look it up. There's a couple people who read it. But the crazy thing about the story is the guy tells the story that he went down there, went through the fissure, got to the other side, and he talks about all this technology that they had, and it's all the technology that we have today. So how did they know in 1903 that we would have maglev trains, that we would have... Now, granted, there was a couple things that they said in the book that we don't have, like personal flying craft and things like that, but it doesn't mean that that's not real. And it was supposedly a true story. And it was said that as soon as he realized that he was on the other side of the ice wall, he got to a land. It took him like 3 months. They were met out in the water, and they said, "Where are we?" And "Where are you from?" They said, "United States." And they said, "Oh, we're an equal distance from Antarctica that you are on the other side." And they were called the Iron Republic, and they did things differently. They had, a society basically with no money, with no like slaves like we have here. I know it's not called slavery, but
essentially the utopia.
Yeah, exactly. So again,
Darren,
but it's still pretty crazy.
I'm reading the Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Wall right now, which is literally the Iron Republic on steroids. It's blowing my mind.
Really?
It's blowing my mind.
Who wrote that?
So it's a Spanish guy. He just got the English translation, and it's putting it all together in a very, very interesting way. I'm about halfway through it.
Well, we appreciate you being on. I think that you're on your way. You already doubt everything you're told, so at least you're not one of these normies running around believing the news.
I doubt it all, man. I doubt everything. I mean, I don't disagree with what you guys have to say by any means. I definitely think I lie on the other side of the spectrum at the moment, but open to...
yeah, and you shouldn't believe us just from saying this. You need to actually go do your own research and actually... But we'll just get you started.
Yeah, I got a couple tabs open, man. Iron Republic.
So listen,
might be a good little audio book for me.
Excellent audio book. There's a guy named Morgile. I'm friends with him. He reads it. If you want to find it on his channel.
The Morgile.
Well, that sounds free. So yeah,
it's free. YouTube. Look up the Morgile. Morgile.
And then the Iron Republic will come right up, and that's good to listen to when you're moving around. Also, flatearthdave.com. Scroll down to the Flat Earth crash course, click that button, and there's a playlist of like feature-length videos, which are really, really good. So, click off Netflix for a week and start watching a couple of those. Your life will be changed forever.
All right, I'm intrigued. So
Sweet.
I'll give
Can I
you
say one
I'll
more
give you
thing?
that. I'll definitely I think I will actually give the Iron Republic a listen, even if it's like, even if I'm not like,
Yeah, it's a good book regardless.
yeah, it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
None like,
And
at the end of
even,
the day.
it rings true to me, but even if it wasn't true, in the late 1800s, they were talking about more land beyond Antarctica. What does that tell you?
Here's another thing that's pretty crazy is so all you can find of that book is a PDF version. And I've tried to get the physical copy because I want to see if they changed anything in the PDF from the original. And I cannot find it anywhere. I mean, if you go to eBay, you can find you want to find a Collier's magazine from 1923. You want to find a National Geographic from 1967. You go to eBay and look up the Iron Republic, which is, I forgot which edition of Florida magazine, but it's like 1903, and you'll never find it. It's like they got rid of them all. So we don't even know that PDF is the actual version that was ever released.
What phone do you have?
I can only find wow. Oh, these are paperback copies, but these are reprints.
Paperback copies. Oh, you mean, they're not the original 1903.
Yeah, no, I can't find the original.
Which is crazy because if you look up all the
phone?
other, if you look up all the other years and all the other
iPhone?
editions, you can find them.
Is it an iPhone?
Yeah.
iPhone.
So there's an app that we have. It's called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, and it bypasses YouTube's algorithms because if you search for Flat Earth, you won't find anything. But there's tons and tons of content on here, including a daily video, all the archives, more resources. If you want it, we'll gift it to you for free. We just need your email address if you want to put it in the chat. We'll send you from Apple.
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay.
I want to tell them something about Mars.
Go.
Okay, so do you know how they say that there a couple planets are rocks and that we have rovers on them and they're landable surfaces and all that? So if you zoom in, I don't know if a telescope can do it. I know the Nikon P1000 or the Nikon P950 can do it. If you zoom in on a star, it looks exactly like this. If you zoom in on Mars, this is Mars, right, Dave?
Yep.
This is Mars, and you can see for yourself that Mars is
it looks
not
like looks like burning gases to me.
It's literally it's a luminary. It's a light. It's a gas, and you could see there. So we're in a dome. We're on a flat surface with a dome over. It's like a divine firmament, and there's water above. And if you go in a pool and look at the sun reflecting in the water, that pattern it makes is exactly what you see in the sky with the wandering stars. The planets are
called wandering stars.
Yeah, they're wandering stars.
This is a star. This is a star, Capella, and you can see it with your naked eye. But zoom in on it, and this is what you see. It's not trillions and trillions of miles away. It's right up in our sky, right within our atmosphere.
Well, how would you determine the distance?
We don't know the different distance, but if you look at the sun, they tell us our sun is one of those big yoga balls and we're a small marble next to it, right? We're tiny little in comparison.
Right.
If the sun was a mile over your head, it would fill the sky, horizon to horizon. Move it 93 million miles away where they tell us it is, and now it's the size of a coin held at arm's length. Well, what if you doubled the distance or tripled the distance? How much smaller would it get? And the answer is too small to see. If we made it 24 times farther just to be safe, that's 3 light hours because they tell us the sun is 8 light minutes away. So at 3 light hours away, it is magnitudes too small to see.
No way.
But they tell us we can see stars that are hundreds of light years away. Polaris.
Right, but we don't know what those stars are made up of, though.
Well, they tell us Polaris is 48 times bigger than our sun. So if the sun is 3 light hours away, too small to see, well, at 6 light days, right? 48 times 3 light hours is 6 light days. That would be way too small to see. And then we'll round it up to a light week away. But they tell us it's 433 light years away. Your mind wasn't taught to think in these big numbers. So you just give up and trust a guy in a bow tie who lies, right? Once you understand that this scientifically proves that we can't see what they're telling us, then we know that it's much closer. It's here. We don't know what it is. We don't know how it is. We don't know anything about it other than we can see it. And it's here.
This is true.
They want us to think that we don't have the capability to understand what we are and the creation that we live on. by bamboozling us with these light years and billions of all these terms, all of this like, oh, the curvature, it's so impossible to find it for some reason. And we can observe, obviously these luminaries are wandering stars with, you could see water through it. You could see that it's not a surface. You could see that water lays level and flat, but they want you to think that you're too stupid to understand reality. So they make up these terms, gravity, all these things that we can't detect, observe, all of that.
If you go look at a pool, that is identical to what water looks like reflecting off of a pool.
Same
Yeah, I
exact
mean, if you look at like those top images, actually look like the floor of a pool. If you were looking down and the sun was refracting off it.
Yep.
It's amazing.
So I think that they certainly are, and it's just too easy of a lie for them, because if they would have ever realized, oh, nobody can go up there, then the first thought would have been, if we say we could go up there, then nobody can ever disprove us, because we'll just say that we know what's up there and that we know how far it is, and we know, and none of us can go up there, so nobody can check it. And that's the actual opposite of science, something that nobody can verify.
Right.
Tell them the definition. The definition of, people want to say, like, when we say all this stuff, they're like, you don't know science, go back to school. The definition of science. Go ahead.
Our science books have changed like dramatically over the past any amount of time.
I'm not talking about science books. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the word science in itself. The definition of science tells you that you have to be able to observe, repeat, test things in order to deem them science and true. And yet they say all of these things that you can't do that to, and they call it science when it's actually pseudoscience. It's not actual science. But we accept it.
I'm kind of agreeing with you, because like science books change every year. So these facts that we have today in our books, 5 years from now, the science book will change and there will be new facts in those books. So, I mean,
yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson goes around telling people science is true whether or not you believe in it, but it changes every year. That's a complete contradiction.
You know what doesn't change? The truth. The truth does not change. Water will always lay flat and level. The stars will always be the same stars. The planets will always look like this. That's the truth. It doesn't change.
He's in. We got him. All right,
I'm intrigued.
We're gonna move on, and
Cool.
we appreciate
Thank you
that.
guys
And
for
you
your
got.
time.
He's gonna send you.
Thanks for not being a penis.
Did he send us his email?
I got it right here. He said, "Thanks for not being a penis." So
Yes, appreciate that.
You're
Follow
welcome.
me on TikTok. I post about it. Jenny Rose Case 13 on TikTok.
Are you on TikTok?
No.
Okay.
I'm not.
Oh, never mind.
She's worth it. I'll give you. Go ahead and try this. You can.
You can type it in. I mean, I can access TikTok.
What's your TikTok again? Jenny Rose SP13.
Yeah, there are some great YouTube
Here,
documentaries that are
Dave.
very filtered, so you can't type them in and find them, but we can recommend them to you to watch and see, and then you'll go and you'll see the world in a whole new way, and you'll never ever believe in the ball again.
I'll check it out. I'll
Sweet.
definitely check it out.
All right,
Is that your
amazing.
YouTube channel, Jeranism?
Yep, that's mine.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for being so open-minded. We appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
Peace. All right. Okay, let's try again.
All right, going back to regular.
Let me put the shield up.
Shield up.